Jason Painter.
All right, Mr. Painter, you can tell me about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm with Chattanooga Botanical Distributors in Hickson, Tennessee. We also have, we're a subsidiary, so to speak, of Green Thumb Nursery. We've been in the greenhouse production business for over 40 years, and this year we're going to get started on shifting some of our greenhouse production into hemp.
What gave you the key to want to do that? What kind of put that in mind?
Just, a couple of things. One is, where all this is kind of going, like in this country, the legalization is starting to become a thing. There's also the benefits from the cannabinoids, the CBD. It just seems like the market is right to start making the move and getting into it.
Yeah, those cannabinoids are really interesting because, when you go to a job where you can't use anything for a while, and so you're not using cannabis as a product, but then you get something introduced that still has other cannabinoids in it, that makes you feel really good. It's actually a real good medicine, very similar to the cannabis you would normally get, but it helps me a lot.
Yeah. And I hear that every day. Actually, I work with a guy. His son has, I think it's cerebral palsy, but anyway, he has a lot of issues with mobility, and he was on a feeding tube for a while. And then on top of that, the kid is like highly autistic, like all the way, like blowing the spectrum up autistic. And he told me years ago he started giving his son CBD oil, and that it was such a game changer for them, where they were able to feed him. They didn't have to use the feeding tube anymore. They could just give him regular food, and they could like bathe him and all that kind of stuff, because he was having major sensory issues with eating and bathing. And the CBD is just like, it's been a game changer for his son and for them as parents. So.
Yeah, so was it just allow him to kind of relax more, or what does it do for him?
Yeah, I think it has toned his autism down.
Yeah.
And so he's not on such sensory overload anymore. I think is one of the biggest benefits I hear him say.
Okay, it's interesting to hear that kind of idea. And so what did it take for you to start converting over from seeing things like that to converting over greenhouses to prep for CBD?
Yeah, it's been a pretty painless transition so far, because we have been so used to the greenhouse production. So our greenhouse production leading up to this year was, we would either do things out of seed or do cuttings, or some of it was like root division kind of stuff. So with the cannabis, we're just doing all cuttings. We're not doing seeds just yet, maybe next year, but anyway, we're doing all cuttings. We have, I forget the size of the benches, but anyway, let's say we got about 1,000 square foot of a greenhouse in the back that we've always used for propagation.
Yeah.
And so it's a heated bench, it's irrigated, all that kind of stuff. So as the summer annual stuff is starting to move out and get ready for retail, we have all this bench space, and we're just kind of moving the hemp in behind it. So.
And what are you going to be doing with it this year? Is it going to be sent off for oil extraction, or is it?
So our main role right now, and this is our business plan for the next 3 years, is to do just wholesale growing. So right now we are sticking clone trays to sell to farmers, or folks that are going to plant in the field. We also have 1 gallon and quart size containers that we're going to sell, like kind of the backyard enthusiasts is what we're calling it.
What is the backyard enthusiast rule right now? I mean, how can people do that? They actually have to have the grow license to grow as a full-on farmer. Just to have a little plant in the backyard.
So I guess God bless the regulation. I mean, there's good and bad, right? Yeah. Thank God that the government is kind of moving that way, and they'll move at their own pace. But yes, you still have that deal. So you can't just come in and buy a flat of begonias and a hemp plant.
And some clones to go with it?
Yeah. No, it's not going to work. No, unless you have a license. If you have a license, you're good to go. And then
it's nice to dream thinking about it with the farmer's market, and you come out on the weekends.
One day for sure. Like you'll have a cannabis plant that you can buy to put next to your tomato. Yeah.
That's really cool too, because like with the clones, when I see like farmers ordering it now, I think it's, orders of 10,000 clones. It's just like, wow, there's a huge process going on right now, and
Yeah.
like it's really becoming big business.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I met you earlier this morning, I met a guy at the greenhouse. He came by wanting to get 1,000. So,
Nice.
and he's already let's see, God, what was it? I think he's going to end up doing. It was at least 6,000, if not maybe closer to 10 this year, and that's just one guy here in Hamilton County. So.
Oh, before we get any further, where can people follow you at on for the social media, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, we're Chattanooga Botanical Distributors. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We also have a YouTube channel, and then all the telephone information, email, all that'll be on there too.
Okay, cool. And so, with the converting and doing mainly clones this year, you gonna get any in the dirt anytime soon?
Any of the
plants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
not just doing clones, but.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
No. Yeah. So we're gonna do the clones all the way till, as of now, we're looking at doing them up to July 4th. Okay. Yeah. Most likely, you can still set stuff out in this part of the world around July 4th and still get a yield before the first frost. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna stay geared towards that. But even now we're already moving to get our own crop going for finished plants. So as we get into later in the year, we're going to set some of the 1 gallons and 3 gallons that we have in the greenhouse right now. We're going to move those up to 15s, and we're going to open up our yard, and we're going to do at least, if we do 15 gallons, we'll probably do 500 plants.
You're going to have a chance for people to be able to see that, or is that going to be off access?
It'll be wide open there.
Oh, so, really? Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to coming back out and seeing your plants when they're growing in a big Tennessee sun.
For sure. I will say this too, like, this is a venture with my parents. I mean, it's my parents' business. They've been doing it for 42 years.
Yeah.
And, they had a lot of the stigma behind it too. And when we first got into this, they were, trying to kind of stay low key. And finally one day I was like, look guys, this stuff reeks, okay? You can see it from a mile away. And I was like, the place is going to fill up with it. I mean, you can't hide 500 plants.
Yeah.
And, but I think it'll be great because, it'll give people a chance to just come in and look. And, it'll also be good for my parents because while they're there, they may buy a watering can or, a dwarf Nandina, or who knows, but.
Yeah, that's a really good business too because one, it's really therapeutic. I mean, it's hard work. There's no doubt about it when you're growing cannabis. It's real farmer work. You got to put in work, but at the same time to see where your medicine comes from and be able to experience it from that end as well and still make a profit of it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great business.
Oh, anybody who's looking to get into it right now, and I understand there's a lot of volatility in the price and there's a lot of uncertainty, even legally, but even, as to like what kind of fertilizers and, insecticides and, how your IPM goes. But, it's still a good time to be in it. It's still a lot of pioneering to it, I think. So.
Yeah. What was the big backlash for you? Did you have any problem getting into it? Because I know you said your parents were kind of changing their mind frame on it. But.
Yeah, they took a while. They were actually approached by some others. It is really what got them heading in this direction. And they kept, the people approached them a couple of times. And I got wind of it, and I was like, look, let's just do this. I was like, I can help you with the sales and some of the marketing and stuff. And my dad, is just real hands-on. He basically grew up on a farm and that kind of thing. So that part was an easy transition. We had a lot of the infrastructure set up, and it's been a pretty seamless transition. So if that answers your question,
it's definitely changing. Just because even seeing the CBD flower in the shops is pretty interesting. For me to even do this podcast, I still worried that maybe I'll lose my job for talking about something that's totally illegal. You know what I'm saying? But
well, I was going to say my main job is at the Sequoia nuclear plant.
Yeah.
And I would say over time there could be some issues there, and rightfully so on their part because they got the one of their main jobs is to protect the health and safety of the public. And a way to do that is you have to provide a drug-free workplace,
Yeah.
So, and I realize, like, you and I understand that we're not talking about like a psychoactive drug here. We're talking about something that's purely medicinal.
Yeah.
But, they still have their perspective. And, if there's going to be some butting of the heads, let's say, then I completely understand. I mean, it's just kind of a business thing, so.
Yeah. And, with all the legislation up for debate right now, like people push for this, that, or the other, but no matter what, whether you're for it or against it, we've got to come out with some kind of medical law change for patients to be able to access something that could be used as a medicine for them, So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I completely agree. I think America, as a society and as a country, and especially as our government, is doing our populace a serious disservice by keeping, even like the marijuana piece of it, illegal, because the domino is falling. Okay.
Yeah, quickly.
Yes, and it's going to happen in this state probably sooner rather than later. I mean, they're presenting the medical marijuana bill to the state legislature this year.
Mm-hmm.
So where that goes, I don't know. But what I'm driving at is, it's already legal in Canada. I think it was Uruguay, right? One of the South American countries, they legalized it federally as a nation. I would say Europe, if Canada's doing it, Europe's got to be right behind them. There's already all this experience in Amsterdam that they've had over the decades. So if America thinks it's going to show up years later after we've legalized marijuana and just be like, well, we're here, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're going to get the warm welcome. And in fact, I think we're going to find ourselves very behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
And I think that, you can tie that into industrial hemp too. The fiber part of hemp, where China has been doing this forever, and we stopped. And so, if we think we're going to ratchet back up fiber production again, I think we may be sorely disappointed.
Yeah. When I did talk to Patsy Hazelwood about a month ago about the legislation we're passing, it goes back to something we were talking about. It was like, she's like, well, if we pass medical, all of a sudden all these people who want to use it are going to have secondary issues with drug tests at their place of work. And it's like, well, I think that's a step in the right direction that we're willing to take, because right now our secondary problems are being treated like a criminal and facing criminal charges, worrying about urinalysis and things like that. We'll take those steps. And
yeah. I mean, eventually the onus will be, well, or how about this postulation, I guess, is, again, this is probably where we've done America as a society a disservice, because we have created this veil of protection using the drug test in the workplace, okay? And the reality is that the only drug that shows up on the drug test is THC. The amphetamines hardly show up, cocaine, opioids, those things hardly show up because they move out of your system so fast.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we haven't really, we're not keeping a lot of the problems at bay. All you're doing is just wrapping someone up, who really is a good worker, and they're a contributing member of society.
It's an easy out sometimes as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, right now we're in this deal with CBD where, not all CBD oil is free of THC. And my opinion, even if it's below the threshold, which is a very, very, very low threshold, you're probably going to fail a drug test if you continue to use it.
Those metabolites will build up.
Right. So,
But on the bright side, we are still farming this plant this year.
Yeah, right? Here we are.
And seeing those nice big bud come. What strains are you going to be growing?
So we have T1, Sweeten, and Franklin.
Yeah. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I hear a lot of good things about the Sweeten. Just seems like it's been well established in this area, so I'm super excited about anything that is tried and true. I'm also really excited about the T1. I haven't seen it to fruition yet. I don't really know a lot of people that are. I mean, I know everybody's kind of using it, but just not as popular as the Sweeten. So, I'm kind of psyched to see how that moves through. Plus, I like the T1. The growth that it has is very compact, and it seems like it'd be a little easier to maintain.
So what all have you done to kind of prep for a new product to grow? Have you done, I mean, I imagine you had to do a lot of reading and stuff to kind of get up on it.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of asking around.
Yeah.
And really the biggest thing as far as growing it goes is take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. And this has been the way it's been in horticulture. I mean, I've been in horticulture off and on for like 40 years. And I'm sure even before it was this way, but you know, everybody has their own way of doing it, right? So you know, you just got to be careful what you hear. You know, that's the biggest thing. But you need to ask around, and you know, you need to try some things out too. So
yeah, I think this Tennessee sun's going to be good for you. I always like Lookout Mountain during the summer. It's all covered nice and green. I think, man, what could I do with a bunch of hemp plants out there? You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you know, like I mean, ever since I was a kid, it was always the number one cash crop in Tennessee was marijuana. You know, which makes sense, right? Because it doesn't take a lot to, you know, have a whole lot of money out of it. But clearly, you know, cannabis will grow just about anywhere in the world. Anywhere where you can supply water to it and a little bit of light. I mean,
it's going to thrive pretty much, as long as they don't sit too long.
Right.
And we got a good environment for it. So
yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss about your product today and what's coming down the line?
Yeah, like we were just saying, you know, we got the clones coming out, and we'll have those ready all the way up to July 4th, and then from there we'll start swapping over to the finished plants. So we'll be providing smokable flower to the shops, and then we'll give them sell the biomass to the processors. And then I would highly encourage anyone to reach out to me. I'm excited to talk to anyone. I want to collaborate with as many people as I can and network with as many people as I can involved in CBD and hemp and this whole process. And I encourage anyone to come by the nursery and, you know, check it out.
Well, I think I'll come back by in a couple of weeks and see how it's going.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for being with me today.
All right, cool. Appreciate your time, Chris.
Thank you.